This is way over the edge. Like we it's not even over the edge. We died already.
This is beyond the event horizon. Like we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purpose, such as criticism, commenting, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hey, y'all, Gravity. Any day above ground, live it. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your Tuesday. So, as you know, we are about 8.5 hours into this dock worker strike, and it doesn't look like anything is moving right now. So get your supplies where you can. Get your supplies. But we're going to look at this Kamala Harris All the Smoke podcast piece. It's not long. It's about 47.5 minutes. Pause. I saw the discourse online. I didn't bother watching it because I wanted to watch it straight through with y'all. First watch, gang. But let's get into it. I think what I'm going to do for this one, though, family, unless it's something that you need to see, I'm just going to leave the thumbnail up because I don't know how they are with copyright. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave this up. So let's get into it.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Let's us begin.
Get to work! We got a very special guest today. Very excited to sit down and talk to
our biggest guest.
I wouldn't lie about that.
Yeah, you saw the show. I do it over.
No, you did it. So we don't do nothing of them. Excuse me. Our biggest guest. I've been corrected. Miss Madam Vice President.
Thank
Kamala.
you. It is so good to
Thank
be
you for
with
sitting
you
down with
guys.
us. Thank you for having us in your home. We're excited to be
both.
here. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Y'all flew to DC for this? Say less.
Thank you both. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you. And you do me great honor to be here. Thank you.
In 2013, a blind date with your now husband, Doug. If you think back to that date and now we're here, did you ever imagine this was going to be the journey?
No, I just have a really bossy best friend.
It was a blind date, right?
It was a blind date. And she called me up because she and her husband met him and got to know him. And then she just decided that this might could work. And said to me, just go out with him once. Don't Google him, just go out with him.
Don't Google him. Just give it a shot. Yeah, right.
And it turned out she was right.
It was a good choice.
I'm in a very happy marriage. I'm very thankful.
So where'd you guys go? Did you really eat or did you just do a salad? Like, did you really let your hair down that far?
So he came to pick me up.
Okay. What kind of car?
A BMW.
Okay.
Oh, good God.
Moving in style.
I don't want to hear this.
That was actually really funny.
In Oakland. You grew up around the TMC times. Golden State Warriors. We hear you're a big fan.
I am.
And there was a rumor that you were in the stands when we were there in the We Believe era.
I really.
Can we talk about that?
Yes, that? I do remember. Okay, we want to say our Warriors are always good, whichever era, but that was a very special time. I mean, it was electric. You guys remember?
Absolutely.
It was electric.
Yeah.
And everybody, we would take Bart to get there and just and go, and it was just.
I'm surprised since everybody wants to tell her how black she is. I'm surprised when they said it was electric, she didn't say boogie woogie woogie. I don't want to hear none of this. Ooh, we found something economic. They have a chapter called The Mass Exodus of Oakland Sports Teams. I wonder what she's going to say on that. Come on, Kamami. Tell us something good.
Get to work!
Oh, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Remember, we used to have all of them. We used to have all of them. You know, and you just drive by that area. You know, when I go to Oakland, when I go to the Bay Area,
it's sad.
And if you like land at Oakland Airport and just pass Coliseum, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And good teams.
Yeah. And for us, I think as players in our time, we more worried about the workers and the people that were there because that's what made us feel good.
Exactly
the workers, every day we came in there, we saw those smiles. We got hugs by people actually from Oakland, and to see them losing jobs to San Francisco, that really did.
You're so right. It was part of the economic engine of Oakland.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the vendors. and it was, and it was local folks, small
Yes.
businesses. Yeah.
I'll definitely say, I mean, obviously we understand what that era and that team kind of did. They took the team to a new level, and the business side kicked in.
Yeah, it
So
really did.
I love where they're at, San Francisco, beautiful stadium, but they'll never be anything like Oracle.
Never.
No, and I'm always gonna think, I mean, Golden State
Yeah, that's what you
Warriors
think.
is.
That's
I
what
think
you
it's
think.
the
That's
year
over with,
after.
right?
I grew up
Yeah.
Italian mom,
No.
black dad, and was always very proud of my heritage until an incident I had in
think
high school
so.
when I was 17, protecting
I
my little
think
sister.
so.
Someone called her some names. I did what the big brother did. I ended up getting in trouble, and the KKK came and vandalized, nearly burned down my high school. And I knew at that point, although I was very proud to be Italian and black, that the world looked at me as a black man. You've always been secure in your identity, who you are, but what do you feel, or what do you think when you hear people kind of questioning just the fabric of who you are?
Well, one, I'll listen to it.
Okay.
You a damn lie. You a damn lie, because you always answer it when it comes up. If you didn't listen to it, why would you talk to Trump about it? Remember, family, I played that clip. She's like, if you got something to say to me, say it to my face. You just said you didn't listen to it. Keep a pin in that, because she's about to lie.
I'm really clear about who I am, and if anybody else is not, they need to go through their own level of therapy. That's not my issue.
Issues, right?
My mother was very clear. She was raising 2 black girls to be 2 proud black women. And
But I thought you didn't listen to it. Why would you have to address it? Your answer before this one should you say what you say and say next question. Why do you have to answer it?
and it was never a question. It's funny because over the years, journalists, some, not most, will want to talk about it. And I say, okay, if you want to have this conversation, I'm prepared to have it, but sit down and get comfortable for a few hours. If you want to start talking about race in America.
Good. Hey, I'm glad you said that, Kamami. I'm glad you said that. Guess what? I'm going to put out that call again because I wrote it on X. I want the smoke. Come tell me.
You bring him here, right here. Do you hear me? Right here.
What?
You heard what I said. Just do it.
It'll be good practice for November 5th when I stream for 12 hours. It'll be good practice. It'll help get my stamina where it needs to be. I want to hear all 8 hours of you explaining to me how black you are. I love it. I'd probably get 755 million views on that.
You want to talk about what the 1/8 rule? You want
the 1/8 rule. What is that?
What it means in terms of who you are perceived to be and the impact that can have on the rest of your life, regardless of who.
Oh, you're saying you're an octoroon. Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna have fun. Let's get to the fun. She's an octoroon family.
What the hell?
Let's get it.
Who you actually are in terms of your God-given capacity and the rights that you have and should have. So, I don't mess with that. I think that's other people trying to figure some stuff out that they
got some issues.
They got to deal with it.
Kamala Dolezal, shout out to
been attacked for not having biological children, but you are a stepmom and I'm a stepfather. I just had my 7th little boy 2 weeks ago, but I have 3 stepchildren that are mine. And being a dad was natural. Being a dad,
you're a biological father too, sir.
To my 4 sons was natural, but learning to navigate, not wanting to step on toes. How do you earn the love and the trust? How did you earn Ella and Cole's love and trust? And how did you get the name Mamala?
I'll start with this. I am a daughter of divorced parents. My parents were divorced when I was 5. And just being very frank and candid with you, when Doug and I started dating, his parents had been married over 60 years. I had to explain to him what it is like to be a child of divorced parents, and including that it was really important to me that
why would you have to explain to someone who got divorced what it means to be the child of a what? Maybe it might be early, family. It just might be for me. Might be early. Why would you have to explain to someone who was divorced what it felt like to be the child of divorced parents? Maybe I'm not understanding it. somebody in here can help me, please. He goes through this every time he goes to he went to go get his kids. I'm just, y'all got to help me. What is there to explain? He could hear it from his own biological kids. He could see how it impacts them. I'm just, you know what? I'm doing this at 8:30 in the morning. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. All right, Command. Regale us with this learned wit.
Get to work!
I knew what he and my relationship would be before I formed a relationship with the kids, because that's just, from my perspective and experience, not fair to the children, because children form attachments. So I was very intentional about waiting until I knew that, okay, this is a real relationship before I got to know the kids, and then we became, thick as thieves. And I love those children. They are my children. Absolutely. And we talk about, we have a modern family.
Your children.
And maybe the blessing that I have that not everyone has, although I think everyone should try and work on it, is I have a very close, because it is a very respectful relationship with their mother.
It's important.
And so
that ain't easy.
That's rare.
No, it is not. And you have to work at it. But you have to work at it. You'll be all right. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing that we have to remember. And I know we do. And we feel, but we have to be intentional about it, because the forces and the emotions will drag us from this point. The most important thing is that our kids grow up healthy. And, I think of the many things that we role model, probably the thing we role model the most that we don't realize is how to form healthy relationships. We teach our kids how to drive. We will sit down and do homework with them. But one of the things we are teaching them every day, and we have to be intentional. We will not be perfect. Right. We will fall short. Yeah. But it's how to develop healthy emotional relationships. Yeah.
What about you and your daddy? I'm just asking for friends. What about you and your daddy? How healthy? How healthy is he, you and your father? Do you even talk to this man? They say he's 10 minutes away from you. I don't know. I don't know. We already with the BS, but all right.
One of the ways, especially in that dynamic, when you're talking about my husband's ex-wife, is how to be respectful. And I was very intentional about, for example, knowing that the kids, as they got to know and form a relationship with me, would not want to feel like they were somehow being disloyal to their mother. And I knew that. Yeah. And so I was very intentional about always making sure that I was clear with them. I would say things like, well, how does your mom do it? Now, I love to cook. How does your mom do? Show me how you do it. And just,
we know how you like to cook.
Life has definitely been lifing. I'm going to keep you guys updated with
collard greens with the dirt ring garnish. Say less. and diagonally cut cornbread. And you called up the catering service to bring the turkey. We know, ma'am. Oh, and you were in the kitchen with Mindy Kaling cooking up curry. Yeah. All right.
And I think that's really important, because, this is the thing that I think has become clear, especially as I'm now running for president, and these kind of conversations are becoming more prevalent. Like, what does it mean to be a step parent? The people who don't get it are understanding, is there a whole lot more of these kinds of relationships than people realize? This is not the 1950s.
Blended is the new norm.
Right.
Blended families are the new norm.
It is.
Blended
it is.
families
And they're
is
beautiful.
the new
And it's a
norm.
beautiful way to live, to build and grow your family. I talk about, even in my speech at the convention, I grew up with the family that is my family by blood and the family that is my family by love.
And sometimes that's thicker.
And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think increasingly people, especially younger people, understand that, right? That there's the family you're born into, and then there's the family you choose. And it's on you to make a decision about what you want and how you define your family. And you have the right to do that, I
tell Mike, I'm just an extra layer of support and protection. I'm not there to replace your dad. I'm not there to, I'm here to help in any way possible.
Right.
So
Mamala came about because it's Kamala, and then they just got creative with it, and it's Mamala.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, shifting a little bit of policy talk. And before we talk about policy, can you briefly explain, because I think sometimes there's misconceptions of the power of the president or the power of the vice president. Explain how a bill becomes a law.
Okay. I believe that the best way.
Oh my God. Why are you saying I believe? He asked you a direct question. How does the bill become the law? You're supposed. Never mind.
The system works is when the power is with the people to then advocate for their needs. And
I'm going to be nice. Continue talking.
Have their needs met. So that's the big macro stepping back, right? One of the ways that the system works to do that the system should work to do that, is we have elected representation who represent the people in these state legislatures, which is where laws get passed, or in Congress, which is where the federal laws get passed. And for the system to work the right way, legislators, these members of a state legislature, let's say your state senator, your state assembly member, or your congressman or your United States senator, will meet with, and they'll have ways of receiving information from the people about what they want. I think it's really important always that we know our power to organize around what we need. And sometimes that'll take the form of writing letters. Sometimes it'll take the form of mass protests to make sure the voice of the people is heard by their representative leaders, who then have as their responsibility to write up some legislation that meets the needs of the people. And then when they write that up, they take a vote in their body, the state house or Congress. And if the majority of the people there agree with it, it becomes a law. So that's how it's supposed to work. And I mean, it does connect to what we were talking about earlier, which is then reminding folks they have a right to expect that their leaders will hear them and take seriously their needs. You know, a lot of why I think it's important to talk about our accomplishments on things like we finally let Medicare negotiate drug prices with the big pharmaceutical companies so that we could cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month. You know why that's important? Because forever that never happened. And when we explain to people that they kept advocating and kept fighting for it to happen, and it did happen, it reminds people, don't give up, keep fighting for the things you know are possible, even if it's never happened before. I think it's...
I saw the comments, do not block them. I saw those comments, do not block them. Okay. So you understand that you're supposed to work for the people, but you ignore the people. You know what they want. You ignore it because you think you know more. You're in front of two black men and you understand what the conversation has been about for the last 5 years, but you're going to ignore it. Would you like me to explain how law works? How a bill becomes law? She's right. Legislatures have to get together and propose something. Yes. And it has to go through committees. Yes. Here's the problem. We have too many bills in there that should be laws that they still have sitting on the books. And the BS laws that shouldn't even be on there, like resolutions, become law that we don't need. That's the issue. These politicians act like they don't know what the people are asking for. Oh, we'll get around to it when we can, but first we got to push this BS bill first. Great. Since you wanted to bring this up, let's bring this up. Because we're already in the vortex, Adolf. Since you such a punk, you can't even just write Adolf Hitler. I'd actually respected you more. Here's an idea. What did we need the C-19 Hate Crimes Act for? What do we need that for? That was a waste of taxpayer dollars. Yeah, I'm going there today. You put out a hate crime law that everybody in the country can't take advantage of. What do we need a Voting Rights Act for? Waste of taxpayer dollars. You have a whole infrastructure bill, right? $1.5 trillion. And we just watched the entire Southeast, many towns be washed away, roads destroyed. People can't get out. People can't even talk on cell phone. People can't even use a microwave to warm up some food. No, ain't no joke. This is not something to joke about. We 5 weeks away from an election. This is not the time to joke. That's what I'm talking about. You folk coming out here, you think life is a joke. Hey, dumbass. We got dock workers on strike. That means you ain't getting no supplies within a month. Is it going to be a joke then when you go to the grocery store, you can't get food? Is it going to be a joke then? You can't get wood. You do know there's 2 more hurricanes coming, right? You do know that. You want to take that joke shit, go over to them white boys and you could go joke in their comment thread. Don't joke over here. We serious with this. When it's a joke stream, I'll let y'all know. Correct. That's why I'm over here and say, get rid of all of them. I don't give a shit about MAGA. I don't give a shit about liberal Democrats either. They're all bad. Get rid of all of them. They don't care about you. The avatar you got next to your name, he don't give a damn about you. He ready to bring in more immigrants. Take the jobs that you and your people are sitting there training for right now. Yeah. Them same dock workers that are out there striking right now so they get a little bit more money, they want to put machines over there. How's that going to help you? Shut up about Project 2025. We already went over it. If you're scared about some punks without power trying to put something into power, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you shouldn't vote. If that scares you, somebody without power scares you. Y'all are sad. Y'all supposed to be this big, tough boogeyman, and y'all supposed to be this tough electorate. Nothing's supposed to stop you. Hey, they throw some shade at us. They throw some obstacles. We keep moving. And y'all are letting a bunch of bitch-ass conservatives who have no power and they're like in their 80s and shit scare the hell out of you. That is a shame.
It's important for people to know, when we, like, for example, I helped write the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act when I was in the United States Senate. People by the hundreds of thousands marched, rightly, out of pain, out of knowledge, out of commitment that we need to take seriously.
Well, all 9
what we got to do to deal with this system.
Okay.
And so
all 9 slots are filled. So go ahead. Tell us which one you're going to knock off. Somebody block this asshole, man. I ain't dealing with this asshole this morning. Hey, go learn something before you come back up in here and talk with another account. Do that for me.
Smoke wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
You already had the majority, but you scared. Conservatives have the majority, but you scared. Oh my God. You got 6 conservative judges out there, but you scared. Oh my God. Oh boy, it's sad. It's sad, family. Oh, the Heritage Foundation. The Federalist Society. They're so scary. Kamala talked to him too. So how about that? Oh boy. If they only knew the real intricacies of politics and how everybody talks to the same people, even though the same people that they're talking to claim they're diametrically opposed to what they're doing, it's hilarious. It's funny. They both hate. They told you they both don't like the immigration going on, right? But they both want the immigration going on. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking perfectly. You're thinking like a slave. I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, I don't like saying that. I don't like saying that. Oof.
You be a victim to the system. I'm good. Hey, you and Kamami got something in common. Let me help you. Since you probably still in there. Or you probably left like a hoe. Hey, you and Kamami got something in common.
So we couldn't get enough votes to pass it, but we got it that far that we wrote it up. And we got it as far as so that under our administration, the president was able to sign an executive order that put a lot of what we put in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act into an executive order. So at least for federal law enforcement, we're now dealing with no-knock warrants. We're now talking about a national database for police officers who committed misconduct.
To the people,
ma'am, that has nothing to do with the state and local. That's why we say the bill is crap. Great, you stop no-knock warrants. How you gonna stop and frisk? Your man over there just said, hey, I want to make it national. I didn't hear you push back on that. Maybe we missed it. I want stop and frisk to go national. Okay. Kamala Harris, you heard what Trump said. Where's your what's your rebuttal on that? And she starts laughing. She would love that stuff. I'm just a male. Trying to make my way to Capitol Hill. I know that ain't the words. I'm just saying. We got to add the Kamala laugh into it. I love how the white supremacists came in here acting like we don't know how bills are made. We literally will, along with the rest of the world, watch them make a bill and craft it and set it up and get it passed and signed by Biden in 2 weeks. And we have bills that have been sitting there that will help the American people still sit there since the goddamn 2000s and the 2010s. You came into a comment thread on a live chat trying to educate us on how bills are made when we've been literally, those that are on code have been saying for the last 35 years. Can we finally get at least a vote or crafted legislation for the cousins to get reparations so we can at least see how people are going to vote on it? You came in the comment thread of a live chat to talk to Black folk who heard something called the Crown Act being bandied about in states and had people of all races say, why is this not federal? It's still sitting there in the House. It didn't even pass the House. Darryl George could have used that. He had to leave his home district because they still screwing with his hair. But you all want to tell me we don't know what we're talking about. All right.
Get to work!
who say, why are we still marching in 2024 when it's common sense what people need? What do you say to that?
Look, my parents marched for civil rights back in the day. I do believe
there's
no significant progress that we've made in our country without the people often taking to the streets. Going way back to the Civil Rights Act, to the Voting Rights Act, to, I mean, what's happening now in the streets on choice, to what happened around George Floyd's murder and moving forward an agenda that's about that. I mean, you could just go through just the different levels of progress that we've had. Often it has taken people taking to the streets, which is why, look, I support the right of people to peacefully protest. My opponent in this race, you look up Project 2025.
Nasty work.
They're literally talking about what they would do to arrest people and deport them because they want to suppress. Part of what really concerns me about this moment in time is we've also defined our progress over the years, and therefore
this chick so he wants to deport people, but you were the same chick who went on podium and said, "Don't come." What the hell? Oh Lord, this woman, boy.
Our strength is being about the expansion of rights.
I'm surprised she ain't wear
Jordans. We're seeing a
Jordans.
full-on intent to restrict rights.
Going backwards.
I strongly believe we have to always be vigilant, meaning whatever gains we've made, they will not be permanent unless we stay on it.
Continue to push.
You got to know you can't take any of our rights for granted. And that's why we have to stay active. And that's about voting. That's about
can't take our rights for granted. You mean like the right? Y'all trying to take people guns, right? Like that, right? You trying to shut down people's free speech? You mean like that? Family, they still have states that you can't even collect rainwater because you're going to piss off the water companies in them states. All this information we got out here, how to distill water and make it potable. Some states still don't allow you to collect drinking water from the earth. Clouds and shit.
Being involved in community organizations, that's about having those conversations when everybody gets together, whether it be at the barbershop or around the kitchen table, to remind ourselves about, look, what's happening and what do we need to do about it?
And also think too, I mean, some of the stuff we stand and fight for, I do it as a parent. In my lifetime, I may not see the benefits, but I have 7 kids who are going to have more kids that are coming down the pipeline that may one day, I'm sure when your parents fought, they're thinking by the time my daughter's old enough, hopefully she won't be going through this.
That's exactly right. But see, they also taught me this. Don't fall asleep on this stuff. Don't fall asleep on it. Don't sit back and get comfortable. Like, oh, that's done. There's this old saying, it's Coretta Scott King.
Oh, Lord.
She said, I paraphrase it all the time, the fight for civil rights, which she meant the fight for justice, the fight for equality, must be fought one with each generation. And I think what she meant is, 1, understand whatever gains we make will not be permanent, and 2, therefore you must be vigilant. You got to stay on top of it. And by the way, don't complain about that.
HBCUs are such a big thing now, and it's. I feel like when things get trendy to become, everyone wants to talk about it and be a part of it. You were someone who went to an HBCU. As an athlete, I'm just like, it's a great idea, and I wish it was more cooler when I was.
So HBCUs weren't. Listen to this bullshit he's about to say. I think I know what he's about to say.
Coming up, but at the same time, I don't think the facilities could have held us. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough to go to UCLA, and it was like being a professional athlete. And we were speaking to, some of the brightest minds come from these HBCUs, but the conditions aren't what some of these other schools are.
So the history of our HBCUs is a phenomenal history, which again was born out of struggle and people sitting around saying, we're not going to wait for other people, right? So there were a collection of people that were white and Black and of many different backgrounds who understood that young, Black, bright people were not having equal access to top levels of education. And so in a nutshell, that's how our HBCUs got formed. I attended Howard University, which is one of the oldest. And it built up over the years with its purpose and mission being to create national and international leaders. It had a reputation of doing that because it did that. But over the years, we also know that our students, HBCU students, don't necessarily, frankly, make the same kind of incomes that people who go to predominantly white institutions do. Don't start out on the same base. So even if they are, they're also taking care of their parents. They're also taking care of their younger siblings and don't necessarily have the extra to be able to build for the school, the endowment, which alumni give to, that ends up funding things like a first class program,
facilities,
be it athletic or.
So whose fault was that? Whose fault was that? The government's fault. Yeah, that's y'all fault. You have a whole Department of Education. You should have been funding the HBCUs at close to the same levels you did for the PWIs. You didn't do it. Command me, you sat up in legislatures in the Senate. You could have did it there. You could have presented it. You could have crafted that bill. You didn't do it. Yeah, you're in the Senate. You can craft bills in the Senate and send it to the House and have it come back. You didn't give a damn. You got what you wanted out of the HBCUs. You got credibility. You got clout. That was your whole purpose of being at an HBCU. Dollars to Donuts, I bet you lied on your application and just told them you were straight Jamaican. I bet you did that. You, Obama, Trump, Bush 2, Clinton, Reagan, all them scumbags, y'all didn't care about the HBCUs because you didn't want to help that class, or those classes, I should say, because they knew one day they'd take over. I said it before, there ain't no reason why Howard shouldn't be on the same level as Harvard. There's no reason why an HBCU in Louisiana shouldn't be competing with LSU. Coppin State and UMES should be on the same level as the University of Maryland. But all right. You had a whole TV show called The Cosby Show promoting HBCUs and y'all didn't move. Say less.
Scientific personnel. So a lot of my work, especially in the Senate and now as vice president, has been to increase federal funding to HBCUs because
where was your bill?
I know they are centers of academic excellence. They are centers of academic excellence, but don't necessarily have the same kind of resources. And so far, we've given now under our administration, as I've been vice president, $16 billion more to our HBCUs. When I was senator, I was responsible for helping to get billions into upgrading literally the physical structure because they're old.
Yeah.
And I think increasingly, to your point, more people are understanding. It's like we maybe skipped an era, but we're getting back to a place of more people understanding what our HBCUs do and giving more support financially to them. But we have to. I mean, it's an incredible experience to walk on campus and everybody looks like you.
Right.
And to go to class and to have a teacher who takes none of your excuses.
To remind you your mom.
Just like your mom would.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It reminds you that, no, you just have to work harder. You just have to compete. You'll be the class president if you do that.
So they said she put out a bill to preserve and improve the HBCUs. Not to permanently fund it. Not to make sure they don't close. Just upgrade them. Knowing they don't get the same money that the PWIs get, they get so much that they could just reinvest back in themselves. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. You don't promote their programs. You don't do none of this. You could easily go. You could have went to all the sports stations and said, "Listen, can we put a law in place, just like y'all put in a law that says you can't play football on Fridays, even though now they broke that law, but whatever." Congress did that. Y'all couldn't put a law in place that said you guys have to carry an HBCU game once a week. Y'all couldn't do that. Y'all had to wait till they have to have 57 offshoots, and then they go on to an offshoot that nobody's gonna watch. Gotta love it.
And the other thing that's great about an HBCU, you could be the class president at the football star.
Same.
You could be in a sorority and be the head of the science club. Like, it also, the beauty of HBCUs is every signal it sends you is telling you, Do not confine yourself to somebody's idea of what it means for you to be a young Black person in America.
I want to touch on mental health.
Yes.
Mental health is big in the Black community, especially with Black men.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Black men out here who starting grassroots organizations to help their communities. I'll give you an example. A guy named Zeke, he's building chapters called New Era in all over Detroit, the Bay Area, Texas, everywhere. And then what they're doing is they're taking care of the communities. Regardless of race, if somebody's being mistreated, if a store being mistreated, if somebody's being mistreated in that community, they're going hands on.
Girl, will you shut up? Let that man talk. I don't need to hear you say, yeah, yep, yeah. He could have been lying his ass off, and I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying he could have been lying his ass off, and you would just be like, yep, yep.
19 keys and also Is it anything that you're thinking about that can help?
You actually mentioned 19 keys. Oh Lord, here we go. Now it's gonna get fun.
These people that's building these grassroots that actually get stuff done on the ground?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, the mental health issue is probably one of the biggest public policy failures in our country. We have acted as though healthcare we've acted as though the body starts from the neck down.
You better not bring
Instead
up
of understanding we need healthcare also from the neck up. And it has to be done in a way that gives people the dignity and the respect they deserve. The most effective mental health care is often because it is peer-based. It is without judgment, and it understands. People have to be understood for who they are culturally, who they are in terms of their life experience. If you're really going to be able to get into their needs, I worked with a brother here in DC, Kier, who actually has been doing a lot around modeling. In particular, I had him come in a couple of years ago. Actually, we've been talking about how we focus in particular on our Black men and our young Black men, because we also have to take the stigma away. And so part of that is about reminding people. It's just like if you break your arm or you got a toothache, this is about healthcare. And helping people understand it's a sign of strength to ask for help, not a sign of weakness. Because when we talk about mental health care, a lot of it, especially for people who have experienced trauma, we're talking about pain. And we understand physical pain. Take an aspirin, whatever. But we don't deal with mental and emotional pain in the same way. And here's the thing.
So where's your reparations bill? Where's your anti-Black hate crime bill? Where is it? That would cure a lot of emotional trauma and physical trauma in the Black community. For those that are eligible, of course.
First of all, look, growing up in poverty, trauma-inducing.
Major.
Growing up around any form of violence, which crosses socioeconomic lines, by the way, so let's not act as though it's just low-income people. Everywhere, trauma-inducing. And the thing about it is, when we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, right, what happens when you've been repeatedly exposed to trauma? Somebody explained it to me years ago. It's oversimplified, but I'm going to offer you this. So imagine you're walking across a busy street every day, and a Mack truck comes barreling down. You will produce basically a response without even reflection. You'll jump back. If every day you're walking across the street, that thing, you overproduce the thing. So that one day you're walking across that street, that Mack truck has come barreling down. You see it, and you keep walking.
You see Black people get gunned down every day. They ain't no. You could have ended qualified immunity for them cops. You could have done that. You didn't do it. You've heard and seen articles written that these banks are screwing mainly Black people through the appraisals of their homes. Okay, that's great. You're suing them now. They're getting money. Okay. You could have put a law in place that say everybody gets a fair shot. You didn't do that. You see the discrepancy in the gender, in the racial wealth gap. There's steps you could take to close that gap. You more worried about lying about childhood poverty, and we still have children that are living underneath the poverty line. You scumbags really put out a tweet 2 years ago saying you save 14 cents at the cookout through our policies. 14 cents. You in front of two Black men talking about mental health, knowing what this country has done to Black men, Black women, Black children, and you got the gall to sit up there and talk about, well, if you keep seeing the Mack truck powering down every day, one day you're just gonna walk in the street and the truck's coming, you're not gonna move. We go through that every day. Our only recourse is, I hope it don't happen to me.
And then we start talking about our young people don't have emotions.
Numb to it.
They're as though they've chosen, as though they have chosen to not have emotion. And we don't realize that a lot of it is physiological, literally. It's how the body learns to protect itself.
Yep.
And for our youngest children, then what does that mean? They start acting out in class. What happens? They get kicked out of class. They're the bad kid. They still start self-identifying that way. And we know where that leads. A lot of the work I did years ago when I was actually DA of San Francisco was focused on a project that it ended up developing itself into what we call the San Francisco Wellness Center, which was focused on early detection of childhood trauma so that we could get the diagnosis going for the treatment, right? Because if you don't diagnose it, you can't treat it.
Right.
And I actually brought in mental health care professionals to talk with public school teachers about it. Like, this is what you're seeing in the classroom, and help people put a label on it as the first step to diagnosing it. And then getting treatment. And during the time I've been vice president, as part of the work we've done on gun violence, we've put now millions of extra dollars in public schools to put more mental health professionals in our public schools. But we need to do a lot more. Because again, it just needs to be diagnosed and treated, right? And understanding this is not about some child who is bad. It's not some child who wants to act out. It's not, this is not a choice that child is making. But and it's not a choice this child is making. They're actually in pain. And it manifests itself in ways that are antisocial potentially, but the child's in pain.
Don't know how to get it out.
Defense mechanism. Yeah. I have a question along the mental health line. We spoke to Kobe and I did his last interview, and I asked him, over his long career, was there any negativity or hatred or disrespect toward you that he heard and hurt? And he said, I heard it all. And he said it all hurt. As someone who's been the first in a lot of spaces you've been in, a woman of color, knocking on the door to possibly be the next president, how do you protect your mental health and your mental space?
Well, number one rule, don't read the comments.
They're nasty.
Didn't you say earlier you don't pay attention to it? When family life lesson, if someone tells you don't read the comments, that means they read the comments. Matt Barnes, I just want to show y'all this for a second. This is what you guys aren't seeing, but I'm seeing. I want y'all to take a good long look at that picture right there. Don't read the comments? Okay, Kamami. If you didn't read the comments, then why were you so scared to go to Buffalo and speak with the victims' families, let alone just go to the funeral? Why were you so scared? I'm sure somebody in your team told you, yeah, they going in on you. I'm sure they showed it to you. Since you want to run around and say, don't read the comments. Let's have a conversation, ma'am. You know exactly what's going on out here. You should be embracing it. But you don't want to embrace it because you think if you're going to win, I can just play South Asian again. I got what I wanted. Those Black Indians, they're on the way. Got it.
Nasty.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Don't read the comments. Just let's start there. I work out every morning. For me, it's just mind, body, and spirit. I think it's really important for everybody. We all have our levels of stress. Everybody does, right? Be intentional about who you have in your life to the extent you can.
I ain't gonna hold you. I was watching the video. These jump cuts are crazy. I want to see the full unedited piece.
And in particular, for our young people who may not know that they have a right to be intentional about, do you have people in your life who applaud your success? Do you have people in your life who you trust? Do you have people in your life who, when you trip and fall, they laugh with you and then they pick you up and push you back out there? There are people that you know who will be those people if you choose to have them. I am blessed to have an incredible family and incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
That's crazy.
Right? Hey, Stacey Johnson.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it.
We used to go to the clubs and her father Seville.
Yeah.
Oh, good God. By the way, screenshot. I just wanted to show y'all that. That's how she looks.
And so I think that's part of it, right? Because you do need the support to deal with it. And especially, I mean, people who are active on social media, it's hard
It's
out
tough.
there. It's tough. And you have to find things. Like, I love to cook. I love to cook.
Didn't you
And
just
it's a
say that
way
already?
for me to I think it's just, for me, it's a great gift I can give people I love. But
Oh, good
it's
God.
also, you know, it's like I start out, I know what I'm going to make, and then I'm done and I can give it to people. And it just gives me something to do that is a productive use of time, you know. And I think people, you know, choose hobbies, think about what it is that you like to do that takes your mind off
Away from
of
it.
the stresses, that is also productive, right?
Economy, small business.
How did y'all skip past the fact that she washed the greens in the tub? Steven Jackson, ain't you from this soil, sir? Why didn't you ask her about the collard greens?
Black business. We actually just started our business in January. So we're, you know, we've grown from a show to a whole entire company. What is your economic plan moving forward for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling for groceries and rent and homeowners?
So look, I grew up,
the plan is 2 words: blame Republicans.
My sister and I were raised by our mother. We lived for a long time in an apartment on top of a childcare center. That childcare center was actually owned by a woman who lived 2 doors down from us, Mrs. Shelton, who was, by all of our accounts and feelings, our second mother. She helped raise us. And so she was a small business owner. So I'll start with the small business, and congratulations on what you guys have done. I, from a child, knew who our small business owners are, right? I mean, you're business leaders, but you're also civic leaders. You take seriously your voice and how you can mentor, how you can grow, right? Communities and the sense of communities. I love our small businesses. And so a lot of my work in terms of building and growing the economy has focused on small businesses. And my vision overall is we need to build an opportunity economy in which we increase opportunity for all, including small business owners. So a lot of my work, even in the Senate, was about increasing access to capital through our small businesses, and in particular through our community banks. So I've been responsible for billions of dollars more now going into our community banks, because they're in the community and then they know who's in the community and where the talent is and who's doing good in the community, what the community wants. And so part of my plan as president is to give small businesses, startups, a tax deduction of $50,000 to start up. Because right now the tax deduction is $5,000.
Can't do nothing with that.
That's exactly right. And see, the thing we know is that most of our small business, our entrepreneurs who want to start a small business, got a great idea, have incredible work ethic, but you know, they weren't handed a bunch of money on a silver tray. And they just need to get their foot in the door. So there is that. There is what I need to do and what we need to do around making housing and rent more affordable. Part of the problem there is we have a housing supply shortage. My plan includes giving tax incentives for home builders to build.
Your plan includes BlackRock dumping a whole bunch of houses on the market, devaluing it, making sure the illegals have a chance to steal them, and then overinflate the value of it. So when the housing crash happens after you leave, if you win, boom, you can't say that you didn't do something.
$3 million more homes by the end of my first term to increase supply to bring down cost, and to increase home ownership, a $25,000 down payment assistance to first-time home buyers.
Tax credit, which means you'd have to pay tax on it.
Because again, people just need to get their foot in the door.
They'll grind after that.
Right? That's exactly right.
They'll grind after
That's
that.
exactly right. And we know home ownership, especially for the community, that's the fastest, most effective, and most sure ways to build intergenerational wealth. It's then when your child says, I want to go to an HBCU or some other college, and you say, well, honey, you don't have to take out a student loan. I'm going to take some equity out of the house. Or your child says, I want to start up a small business, and you can say, let me take some equity and help you.
First, what is that business? Let me make sure it's not no bad plan.
Well, but you know what I'm saying.
I get you saying. You have something to pull from.
Productive, right? You have something where it's about intergenerational wealth. Because see, here's how I feel about the economy and the economy I want to grow. We have, over the last 4 years, reduced Black unemployment to the lowest it has been in decades.
That's a lie.
Okay, that is an accomplishment.
That's a lie.
However, I believe, need to measure our success not just only about everybody's working, but can you build wealth?
Can you start saving?
Can you start saving? Can you buy a home? Can you start saving to take your family on vacation from time to time? Can you save enough so that Christmas time for you and your children is not stressful, but something enjoyable, right? And so it's about, yes, we got to make sure that we have high employment, but also that we create opportunities for people to build wealth.
Get ahead.
Part of my plan is also to expand the child tax credit. $6,000 in the first year of your child's life.
Man, I could have used that one.
Because you know what that means. That's such a critical stage of a child's development. And it's expensive.
You had 5 years to do that. Five years.
A family's got to buy a car seat, a crib, the things that
the necessities.
Because I start from the perspective that the vast majority of parents want to raise their children well. They love their children, but don't necessarily have the resources they need. And if we understand that the children of a community are the children of the community, we'll understand that an investment in something like the first year of a child's life benefits all of us. But these are things about building what I call an opportunity economy, which is about helping people not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because most people, look, maybe you've gathered this already. Here's where I come from. Most people have ambition. They have aspirations. They have dreams. And they are willing to.
Why are you personalizing stuff for people on a broad scale? You don't speak for everybody.
Work hard. And if we give people the opportunity to actually meet those goals, they jump for it every time. But not everybody starts out from the same place in terms of having the opportunity to just get in there. And so my plans, whether it be $25,000 down payment assistance, whether it be a $6,000 child tax credit, or helping people in terms of what they need to do to be able to start a small business with a bigger tax deduction. The reason I'm saying all that is because when those folks are successful, we are all successful.
Community feels it.
And we actually strengthen the economy overall.
Absolutely.
When middle class is strong in America, America's economy is strong.
It's a better country. Yeah.
And it's a better country for all of us.
Absolutely. All right, so we're running short on time. We're going to finish up with quick hitters. First thing to come to mind, let us know. Oh, cannabis?
I just feel strongly people should not be going to jail for smoking weed.
This motherfucker. But you did it anyway, but okay. You did it anyway. You sent him to jail for Wait a minute. She said cannabis, not weed. She said cannabis, not weed. Go ahead.
And we know historically what that has meant and who has gone to jail. Second, I just think we have come to a point where we have to understand that we need to legalize it and stop criminalizing this behavior.
Legalizing it means we got to make money off of it.
And so, and I've actually, this is not a new position for me. I have felt for a long time we need to legalize it. So that's where I am on that.
I love it.
Well,
okay.
She said weed, not cannabis. Pay attention, y'all.
Yeah, that's old school, right?
Yeah, that's old.
Yes, sir. That's how he looked.
like it. I like it. All right.
I love it.
Favorite holiday to cook and what's your signature dish?
Well, Sundays are my favorite days
Sunday
to cook.
dinner.
Sunday family dinner.
Okay.
I mean, these days it's more difficult for me than ever. But Sunday family dinner,
Yeah, get everybody
my happy
together.
place, and whoever is around, bring your friends.
Oh, party. I'm leaving my
yeah.
number. I want to get invited to one of these Sunday
Okay.
dinners.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay. Okay. You guys are welcome.
Yes.
Best musical artist in Bay Area history.
Ooh, put her on the spot.
Oh, ever? Now my
Your
mind is
opinion?
going through
Your
lots. I
opinion?
mean, I could go with Too Short, but
You
I
can't go
mean,
wrong with Too Short.
yeah.
Raphael Sadiq.
Raphael is
Mac Dre.
yeah, yeah.
She said they led her to Too Short.
Yeah, you know, Tupac had his.
Yeah, he's wrong. He played
rappers.
Here we go,
Yeah.
you Tupac.
Yeah.
5 dinner guests, dead or alive.
I'm gonna get emotional when I say this. My mother and my husband never met.
Oh, okay.
My mother passed away before we got married. So if I could put him at the table
Yes.
with my mother,
Okay.
Shirley Chisholm, first black
Big.
woman to
That's
run for
big.
president.
That's big.
Oh,
My
and
first time
I
hearing
would
that one.
so
A lot of people
love
don't know
to
who she
sit
is.
with her.
Pick her brain.
I
yeah.
would so love to sit with her. I mean, I feel that I know her because I have studied her life.
You're walking in her footsteps.
And yes, that a path that she created,
Mhm.
right?
It's a beautiful thing.
One of my heroes is Thurgood Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you talk about like him being active in the streets and what he did in terms of representation, and then went to the court and carried that over.
Big. Who's that last seat going to?
You know who I saw recently, who I just love, but he's one of two, the Justins from Tennessee. They refused to be silenced.
Oh God. You could easily call them two coons up easily. Lord have mercy. So you name 3 people that are gone, but you bring up 2 coons.
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Who mans is this?
Sinful. That's the devil.
They're both in the state capitol.
Okay.
And they were speaking up about gun violence.
Okay.
And then the other legislators tried to shut them down. And Justin Jones is actually from Oakland,
Okay.
and born where I was born at Kaiser Hospital,
Okay.
Oakland, California.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That would be kind of a good mix, because then
I love
that's
it.
kind of different generations of leaders.
First thing you do in the morning, last thing you do before you go to sleep.
First thing I do in the morning is work out.
Mhm.
There is a prayer that comes in
Mhm.
after that
Yes, of course.
every day.
Mhm.
And last thing, usually to tell my husband I love him.
I like that.
That's a lot.
Mhm.
What's your guilty pleasure? Do you have any?
Yes. One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho.
Nacho.
Old school, original.
OG,
Come on.
yeah, OG.
Come on.
Red-
There it is. And there it is. Doritos. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Got to have a napkin nearby.
oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. What was your process? Because it was fast. What was your process, and what did you do when you were deciding who to pick for your vice president?
You know, ultimately, what it came down to was Tim Walz.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Tim Walz and you look at me, and you have a sense of who we are and where we came from, you think we have nothing in common.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes from and grew up in the same kind of, different part of the country. Folks were a different color from a different culture, but same people, hardworking people, straight talking people,
Mm-hmm.
people who have values. And I just found that so familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that the process was ultimately I made a decision about my gut around, like, and not that any of the other candidates
Mm-hmm.
did, but just do you have a connection to the people and a life experience that is about just seeing people. And but it was a whole thing. I mean,
But I heard you did some cooking. You were trying to watch a movie and couldn't focus. Like, that's your nerve. That's what I want. Yeah.
Okay. So
Give
you
me
want to know that part?
Give me that. Yeah.
Look, from the time that the president called me and told me he wasn't running, I mean, it just like everything was in speedy motion. And I was not sleeping so well. And that one morning, I had, I don't know, a few hours sleep. And I like to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I just got up, so I just went out and got a pork roast and started marinating.
Time to work. Get to your happy place.
And my family happened to be in town, so they were very happy about the whole situation. But I just got up and started, everybody asleep, I just got up and started cooking.
Set your mind ease.
Yeah.
Last question. As someone who's broke a ton of barriers throughout your journey, and your journey is continuing to elevate, what does it mean to you to be the first woman president, but the first Black woman as president?
Yeah. Well, not there yet, knock wood. My mother had many sayings, and one of them is she would say to me, Kamala, you may be the first to do many things, make sure you're not the last. And I take that so very seriously. I've had the
Well, ma'am, if you lose on November 5th, you will be the last black woman that they will vote for. And I'm talking about them white liberals. They will never vote for another black woman again. We know you. Don't y'all yell at me. I know she not black. I'm just saying. Since she want to run around and be black, if she loses, they'll never vote for a black woman ever again. They won't even sniff her. What's up, LVZ?
good fortune to mentor a lot of people along the way, including to this day. For me, it's about one, understanding the shoulders I stand on. We talk about a Shirley Chisholm, and then so many people
Why you
who are
standing on her
alive
shoulders?
who
Wait
have
a minute.
mentored
You
me
should
and
be
helped me
walking
up.
next to her. Where you
And
stand on her
I
shoulders?
feel so strongly
asshole.
that, each one pull one. You got to leave that door open more than it was when you walked in. And that's what it means to me. I feel a great sense of responsibility. I mean, you talk about your daughter and what she's doing at school. I look at our sons. I feel a sense of responsibility to hopefully remind them that you should never hear no. You should never hear nobody like you has done this before, or it's not your time, or they're not ready. Like, don't hear that. Don't hear that. I eat no for breakfast. That's my saying.
Well, I think too,
I
we
eat
talked
no
about,
for breakfast.
you got to see it to believe it. We talked about
You
that growing up
do.
in the
You
community. We got to
do.
see it to believe it. We've seen Obama do what he does, and now we have an opportunity to possibly see you. And to
Yeah.
me, 5, 6 daughters, and I have a daughter. Just to be able to see it means so much.
Right. Well, because there's so many, it's sadly, but there's so much good in the world. So let's start with that. And there's so many positive messages. And there are some that are not positive. And it would suggest to our kids, to our young people, that they're alone, that they don't have champions, that they don't belong, that they're not entitled to, that they don't have rights, including the right to be a leader.
Right.
And I hope that in my career and in my work, to the extent I am able to help people reject that I can do that.
I love it. Before we get out of here, we would like to give you our first ever coffee. First
you're
podcast
kidding.
to ever have a coffee table book.
Okay, that's it. Because I don't know what the fuck else you're gonna be talking about. Okay, that was that. We didn't learn nothing. But all right, you gotta do fluff pieces, I guess. Fun times. Fun times. So what we finna do? What the hell? We'll let y'all sound off. Now, I don't know when they let me see something. Maybe they tell you when they recorded this. Nope. Oh, this was recorded September 24th. So this was about a week ago. Okay. By the way, this was only about 47 minutes. That's not good, Miss Nisi. You should go get some cotton balls. That's not good. We know, LVZ. Look, just like you, I didn't do no content on that. I don't care who you vote for. I really don't. I'm done. I'm done debating if this woman's black or not. I don't care at this point. We're gonna move on. I want policy. I ain't had no policy. They ain't ask a one policy position. Except cannabis. Because that's what people care about. Cannabis. I would have loved to see her dance around the goddamn I would have loved to see her dance around the question of gun control. I would have loved it. I want her to explain what an assault rifle is. That would have been great. But anyway. Okay. I guess I can go relax. I can go relax before I have to go to this plantation. So this is what we're going to do. I hope y'all will join me tonight at 9:00 for this vice president debate. This should be fun. Now, word of warning, I'll still be at work by then. So I'm going to have my wife start the stream. So y'all are going to be able to just listen to it. And then when y'all hear the ding ding, then you know I'm home. And that should be fun. So I'm going to get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence.
Wait around. Yep. Smart. Yeet and get out.
Time's up. But did we have a good time here? Hello?
At the end of the day gotta end.
Get your money up, not your funny up. Big fucking move.
That's it.